Now, you can listen to Wine and Dine Radio while shopping at the grocery store or your neighborhood wine merchant. Wine and Dine Radio can be heard using your wireless internet on your cell phone. You're listening to iWineRadio. iWineRadio is a production of Food Tastes Better with Wine on the web at iWineRadio.com. Hey guys, I thank you for listening to iWine Radio, and we are still the only wine channel on iTunes Radio. If you go look under iTunes Radio icon and scroll down to News and Talk Directory, and it's listed alphabetically, click on that and the stream comes up immediately. iWineRadio.com, where you can find links to individual guests. And if anyone's interested in advertising or becoming an underwriter or sponsor, please contact us at iWineRadio.com. We really, really appreciate your support. The more support we get, the more conversations I can have with fascinating people around the world, including you. If you have a story to tell that you'd like to share on iWine Radio, go to iWineRadio.com and contact us, and we'll go from there. Well, when it gets a little nippy outside, it's always nice to have a glass of Armagnac beside you. I don't know if people have Armagnac before dinner, but certainly after dinner. And we'll learn all about the customs of consuming Armagnac from Megan Wiig of N.Y.C-Consultant. She's joining us today to talk about Armagnac for the holidays. And do people in France, because I know that the majority of Armagnac is consumed in France, do they have a little bit of Armagnac in the morning if it's cold, or do they have it, well, in the evening before fixing dinner? Or what is the cultural rituals of when to consume Armagnac and how?
Well, as you certainly know, in France, and by the way, thank you for having me, and thank you for giving Armagnac some presence on iWine Radio, but as I was saying, as you know, in France, people are very regional. So if you live in Bordeaux, you drink Bordeaux. If you live in Burgundy, you drink Burgundy, and you rarely vary. So really, Armagnac is the great drink of the region of Gascony. And Gascony is southwest France. It's very rural, and people spend a lot of time outdoors. So they are rugged people who enjoy coming in and lighting a fire and putting their feet up and having a glass of Armagnac. And that's really traditionally how it's consumed in the home, is in the evenings before a fire. And I think the flavor profile of Armagnac is really well suited to that, because it itself is very warming, as any, higher proof spirit is. And it also has these lovely caramelly and smoky flavors that when you're by a fire, it magnifies, and it's just gorgeous.
Oh, that's a good synergy, aroma-wise. Mm.
Oh, yeah. It's just awesome. And the coolest part really is that a lot of the distillers in Armagnac are firing their distills with real wood. And I didn't really understand, and you can't understand the magnitude of this undertaking until you go to Armagnac and see the work involved. It means that someone has to be 24/7 by these stills, and sometimes it goes as long as 3 weeks the distilling process, depending on how big a property is.
Wow.
So there's at least there are at least two men standing by that fire and making sure that the temperature is exactly consistent, so that the still is burning at the exact same temperature over 3 full weeks, 24/7. And it's a tremendous undertaking that I have so much respect for. And sitting in the distill rooms, they're always nice and toasty, and they have that wonderful wood smell. Now, not every property is using wood, about 25%. The rest are using gas, which is obviously much easier to control and maintain, and you don't need someone there around the clock. But the traditional producers are still using wood today.
And does it go so far, like I want to say the word terroir-wise, where they're using wood from Gascony to even keep their fires going?
Great question. Absolutely. They are using the cane cuttings from their field.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
And they're also using, larger properties are using those cuttings with real chopped wood. And yeah, it's all local. I mean, I didn't actually ask them when I was there, but I do know they're using the vine cuttings to kind of keep as kindling, basically, and then larger pieces of wood that are going to burn evenly. That
is very labor intensive.
Yes, it's really remarkable. And it takes quite a bit of know-how, so know exactly when to throw the next log on so it doesn't flame up too high, and just keeping that temperature consistent. It's amazing.
Megan, is it too weird of a question or too much to ask that that kind of information is somehow available for people to learn what Armagnac producers are traditional and use wood versus gas, and are those wines available, or are those brandies available in the United States?
Oh, sure. No, it's not. I don't know of I could put together a list for you, and I'd be happy, and you could share it in the future with your audience. I don't have a list right now that breaks it down, but I have a book that has the information in it. There's a beautiful book that was put out recently, which I'd be happy to have sent to you on Armagnac.
Oh, yes.
And the region, and it's a catalog of every single producer. So it's a wonderful book, but it's definitely a coffee table book. It's for people who are very into Armagnac. But one of the things that I always do when I'm sampling Armagnac with people, most people have never heard of it.
Yeah, wow.
And it's a very small production, artisanal product that is very similar to Cognac, but is also different. So what I always say to people is, do you enjoy whiskey? Do you drink Scotch? Mm-hmm, and if the answer is yes, I say you have to try this. You have got to try this. You cannot live another day without knowing Armagnac. And I haven't met someone yet who hasn't said this is just so smooth and the price is so affordable. And that's really the great thing about a beverage that hasn't got the international renown yet. And Armagnac is still relatively unknown, so that's when you find the great values, I think.
Okay.
But it is very much handcrafted.
So you mentioned Scotch, and so especially right now, people are springing for older blended Scotches for holiday season, for gifts, for treats to themselves. So talk to us about the aging of Armagnac, and are there different ages available?
Absolutely. If you go to the shelves, you'll see that it is labeled quite similarly to Cognac. So they have a VS, a VSOP, XO, and what that means is how old is the blended Armagnac in the bottle. So it works the same way as Cognac. If it says that it's a 10-year, that means that the average age of the Armagnac in the bottle is 10 years, but they're taking from 1-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 20-year-old, 30-year-old, even 50-year-old, and blending it, and the average age becomes 10 years, and that's when you see on the bottle. So you can find a range of everything from VS, which is really 1 year to 2 years of aging on average, up to usually the most you see is 30 or 40 on the label. But then you will also find vintage Armagnac, and those can go way back. So you can get your hands on even a 1936 vintage Armagnac, or what's in the market right now is usually 80s and 70s, and they're absolutely mind-blowing. And this is coming from someone who is really a wine girl who came into spirits through this work with Armagnac, and really at first I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about drinking spirits, and because they're so strong. But it wooed me, and this beverage is magical, and I will honestly tell you I drink it a little bit, like an espresso cup, almost every night.
An espresso cup?
Well, about that size, just not very much, but about the size of a shot of espresso, or I guess you could say a shot, but I'm not shooting it. I'm sipping it like you would.
You're sipping.
So,
and you're not blending it with anything.
I don't. I think the flavors are just so incredible, but and also you can blend it, and it is wonderful in mixed drinks, but you have to use one that's a little bit younger, because what a shame to use, an older Armagnac in a blended drink. But,
yeah, I agree with you.
You can find affordable Armagnac in the XO category or VSOP category for, in the 20s, and those are 750 milliliter bottles that are going to last you a while. So it's very affordable for a spirit of that quality.
Do you ever use Armagnac a little dollop when you're cooking in making a sauce?
Oh my gosh, great question. I use it probably too much. I only say that because I really want to drink all of it, but it augments my food so much because of that that caramelly note. It adds this wonderful caramelly smokiness to my cooking. So if I'm doing braised chicken, I use it, and I use it for osso buco. So it's beautiful in cooking, and it's wonderful on ice cream too, just poured right on top.
Oh my gosh, that is a phenomenal idea. Oh, Megan Wiig, yeah. I'm so glad we got you today. I know that you're busy preparing for the holidays. Thank you for your time in talking to us about Armagnac.
Oh, you're wonderful, Lynn. Thank you. It's a pleasure, always.
Oh, we will have links up for you to learn more. And, where I live in eastern North Carolina, there's not a big selection, but the state does bring it in, so you have to ask for it and seek it out. And I thank you for listening to Wine and Dine. Now you can listen to Wine and Dine Radio while shopping at the grocery store or your neighborhood wine merchant. Wine and Dine Radio can be heard using your wireless internet on your cell phone. You're listening to iWineRadio. iWineRadio is a production of Food Tastes Better with Wine on the web at iWineRadio.com. Hey guys, I thank you for listening to iWineRadio, and we are still the only wine channel on iTunes Radio. If you go look under iTunes radio icon and scroll down to news and talk directory, and it's listed alphabetically, click on that and the stream comes up immediately. iWineRadio.com, where you can find links to individual guests. And if anyone's interested in advertising or becoming an underwriter or sponsor, please contact us at iWineRadio.com. We really, really appreciate your support. The more support we get, the more conversations I can have with fascinating people around the world, including you. If you have a story to tell that you'd like to share on iWineRadio, go to iWineRadio.com and contact us, and we'll go from there.